What is up, everybody, and welcome back once again to the Untitled Discourse podcast. I am your host, Harry Messenger. Joining me live tonight is one of the only Daniel Shelton. He'll be with us in just a minute. And first, I want to give a massive shout out to London Discord community for sponsoring the YouTube stream and Discord UK for the show. Hopefully, we are live in the start tonight, and you guys can hear me and also hear the guest, Daniel. Daniel, are you there?
I am indeed. Can you hear me?
I'm going to be having a little bit of audio issues. I'll try and get this sorted.
Fair enough.
So Daniel, I'm sure you can still hear me and the stream can still hear you. So while I try and work out what the hell's going on with my headphones, why don't you give everybody a little bit of an introduction and let them know who you are and what it is you do.
Sure. Well, my name is Daniel Shelton. As you can probably guess by the accent, I am American. I moved to Bristol about 4 or 5 months ago, whatever March is, for work. I work for a software company, and we've got a few international projects. And so I moved over for the duration of about 3 years to work on one of our projects. And I started playing disc golf, actually traveling for work in Finland about 3 years ago, 2.5, and have, gotten into it. You can probably see the shelf behind me. And so when I came here, one of the first things I did was obviously look for people in the UK disc golf community. Harry was actually one of the first people that I reached out to. I had a tournament up in Manchester at one point, and he showed me around. We met up to play disc golf a month or so before that as well. But yeah, that's me. That's why I'm here.
Awesome. Well, it's been good so far, and it's been great to see you around and see you getting so involved in the UK disc golf scene. And yeah, it sounds like I might have my headphones fixed. Who knows? This is the first show wearing new headphones, so some teething problems. But thanks for bearing with us. So yeah, it's really cool seeing you kind of get on and progress. And you've been doing quite well for yourself since you've been over here.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
It's been neat seeing you travel into some tournaments and sort of spending your weekends with the disc golf scene and getting on quite well. You've come off back-to-back victories coming on the show today.
Yes, I'm
how's
very
the
happy about that.
Of playing tournaments in the UK been so far?
It's been fantastic, honestly. I tell my friends, to make it seem like I'm not as obsessed with disc golf as I am, that it's a great way to see different parts of the country, which is one of the things I want to do for the time I live here. And it is, and meet a bunch of people, and also meet a lot of the same people over and over again, because there are a number of people like myself who travel to all of the tournaments in the UK, and it's just so much fun to compete with people and try to beat some of the people that have beaten you in the past.
Definitely.
I've been fortunate enough to do that a couple times now.
Yeah, you're gonna you've pretty much got everyone's number right now as we speak after 2 MA2 wins in a row, but hopefully we can mix it up and take you down a peg or two for the next couple of tournaments. We'll see what we can do.
Sure, I'm looking forward to the stiff competition.
Yeah. No, it's really cool. One of my things about the UK disc golf scene is the fact that you get to play week in, week out with the same kind of few players at the tournaments. Because we're such a sort of tight-knit community when it comes to the number of players who do travel and compete. You get a good mix of playing with different people and playing with the same people. So it always kind of feels like a bit of a tour. It's really just a small regional scene, but
one of the things I was going to say, one of the things I noticed about that is I'll hear people talked about by some of the people I've played with for a couple tournaments before I end up being on a card with them, and by the time I am, it feels like I almost know the person just because I've been playing with people who talk about them in previous tournaments.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean by that. It's definitely something I do. I always say, "Oh, I remember when so and so did this on this hole," or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've kind of got used to playing with me at these tournaments so far, because I think you were saying that I'm already your most played person on UDisc, even though we live hundreds of miles apart.
Yeah. Which, I mean, granted, just means that I don't score a lot of UDisc rounds with people. I think you're at 12 after the last Manchester round.
Yeah.
Whereas the next person above that is, I think, one of my Daniel Putter's UDisc profile at like 130.
Yeah, sure.
So.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's always a good time. Yeah, and it's really cool getting to mix it up and play with different people at tournaments and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm assuming you told who you are a little bit while I was struggling with my audio, but my question would be a little bit to do with the differences between the sort of the amateur disc golf scene back home where you're originally from and here. How would you compare the two scenes?
So okay, to start, the UK disc golf scene is smaller. It just is, and I love that for one reason, because it's so tight knit. Like you said, like everyone seems to know everybody, and that's sort of amazing. I did not feel that way in Madison. Granted, in Madison, I didn't make quite the same effort to reach out to the local disc golf community. I did play a number of tournaments there, and made some friends along the way, and would be recognized at tournaments, things like that. But I feel a lot closer to the people I'm playing with here in tournaments and things like that. The other thing is, I have been called a sandbagger for playing MA3 with my, I believe it was an 886 rating or 884, something like that.
Sure.
In the States, you play your rating until your rating kicks you up a division. It's stiff competition otherwise. It just, like, you're going to be playing with a couple guys in MA3 in the upper 890s.
Sure.
I had a friend who was very happy that he got over 900, moved up to MA2, had a couple bad tournaments, moved back below 900, and started playing MA3 again at like 899.
Yeah, sure.
So I will say that it's a little bit harder to get a win there. I only had 2 in the States, my first and only novice tournament, and my last tournament before I moved over here.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's fun. So, like you were saying, in terms of the size of the scene, I thought it was interesting that you compared the whole of the UK to just Madison, which is like one town, right? One city.
Yes, it's one city, about 250,000 people, and our tournaments sell out in minutes. Full 90-player fields. It's insane. And then there's waiting lists 10, 15 people deep. We've got 5 18-hole courses in the city, or, like in what you would call Madison, with maybe 10 more within a 45-minute drive.
Wow.
So yeah, it's not the same, and it's hard to compare to each other.
I bet.
I will say I was slightly spoiled in Madison with the number of courses, but one of the things about having a single home course and playing that all the time is, I mean, one, you get to know it really well, but also you see the same people out there, and you can just go up to anyone and start playing with them because you're already friends with them. It's pretty great.
Yeah, it's good. It is good. I do like that, but also I am a bit jealous of the diversity of courses, of the difference between being able to have, for example, we're running tournaments more this year in Manchester, trying to make an effort to do that, but also the number of players on the course, casual players, has massively increased. The number of other events that we want to put on, like community open days and league nights and club nights and stuff, and we're starting for the first time really to experience sort of congestion of the course. We've had a few times on a busy weekend day where there's queues at tee pads. We've run into this issue where we're a little bit cautious to put on too many tournaments, or certain members of the committee are, because if we were going to close the course for a whole weekend to play a 90-man tournament, then there's nowhere within 90 minutes of Manchester where anybody can go play. So we're either turning away casual players, trying to get casual players to play at the same time as the tournament, or kind of hogging the course, so to speak, which is it's a little bit of an interesting issue. And it's not really one that we've ever had in the UK before, because disc golf's always been so small and not popular that it's not really been a problem. It's just either those 30 people over there in a park playing a tournament, we'll ignore them and use the rest of the park or whatever. There's never really been competition for the disc golf space, but it's whereas if we had 5 courses in the city and 10 more courses we could all drive to whenever we felt like it, it would be a lot different, I think.
Yeah, no joke. I will say, with the size of Madison's disc golf scene, that 5 courses isn't really enough. Like, you still, after work, you run into queues on the tee pad, every tee pad. It's just going to be packed in the summer. That's crazy. And it's often groups of, 4, 5, 6 people. And as someone who has played solo a number of times, you're constantly trying to play through people. Yeah. So that's all I have to say about that.
So what city here in the UK would be an equivalent size of Madison, so that the viewers can kind of get a good idea for just how many courses and how many players that is for a small region? Because I would say it's Bristol, right? It's probably similar.
It's Bristol. Yeah. I was going to say I don't really know the sizes of cities in the UK yet, but I think one of the reasons Bristol was chosen as the headquarters for the international operations of our company is because of its similarities to Madison in many ways. And that size is one of them. So yeah, about Bristol.
So according to Google, Bristol's metro area population is 680,000 people. So that's more than twice as big. So
Google Madison now. 250 might just be the city area. It might not be the metro area. So just make sure I'm giving you accurate numbers.
Yeah, it says 260,000. So there you go.
Yep. So half of Bristol.
Yeah. And wow, that's so yeah, we've got a long way to go growing the sport here.
Yeah, for sure.
That's quite eye-opening to me, because I'm like, oh, the sport's getting so popular, we get 150 people at Manchester Disc Golf on a Saturday, and then a long way to go yet.
So one of the comparisons, not to stray from disc golf into ultimate, but Madison is just a big flying disc city, I suppose. We've got one of the biggest amateur ultimate leagues in the country, I believe.
Okay.
Every summer, about 2,000 people come and play. And during COVID, suddenly all of these ultimate players were left without the ability to play ultimate. And so we had 2,000 disc throwers that suddenly had no one to throw discs to. And, disc golf baskets were a natural alternative. So I think that also led to a big explosion in Madison.
Again, I think we had a very similar but much smaller experience here as well. Ultimate's probably a bit bigger than disc golf still in the UK. Well, a lot bigger, but even then it's maybe one team in a city. There's no way you'd have more than that. But yeah, I always find that fascinating, the differences between where we could end up and where we are, because I think as a disc golfer, it's oh yeah, let's grow the sport, let's get it bigger, get all these more things in, but then you don't even think about the scale of that.
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine if we could have 15 courses within an hour of a city, probably a tenth the size of Manchester? I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know the population of Manchester, but it's something on that scale.
Yeah, mad. Hopefully we get there one day and we can use more of our wonderful countryside and metro parks and stuff, and we can put some baskets in. It'd be cool.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing new courses come up too. I would like to make a goal of playing every course available in the UK while I'm here. I don't know how many of those I will actually get, but I know that my traveling to tournaments has made a start for me.
Yeah,
but I'd love to see more.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you get a lot of them. It'd be interesting to see. I think I've got 13 or so, maybe 18 hole courses. So, there's a few more I've got to hit still, but working on it. Speaking of new courses, I'm very excited about playing Gilly's disc golf in Stratford, the new one that's opened this week, I think. So
Yeah, I've seen some posts about that on the one of the Facebook pages.
yeah, from what I can tell, it's sort of they've got like 12 holes, 12 kind of shortish holes now, but then they've still got another whole half of the property that they've got to renovate, and so they're going to end up with 24 holes, but the ability to join them into one sort of gold level 18 hole layout. So that's the end goal. I'm very excited for that to happen. And that'll make it, as the sport grows and they get more and more people going, that'll make it a much more attractive place to go, because on regular operation they can operate it that half of the people play the easier course in one side of the forest, and any actual disc golf kind of fans who aren't like families or whatever can go play the other half, and they can keep them separate from each other, which I think will work quite well.
Yeah, for sure. And also sort of remove that barrier to entry for people who are, walk up to a 300-foot hole for the first time, and it'll take them 5 throws to get there because they've never thrown a disc before.
Yeah, I think that's something that we do quite well here in the UK. Most of our courses have beginner layouts, have red tees or white tees or easier tees that I know I've personally started playing at the Quarry Park short course, which is like a pitch and putt, and that was plenty difficult for me. I think it was taking me 8-9 throws to get to one of the Quarry Park short course holes. So imagine how many it would have been if I was on a full 300-foot par 3.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Well, let's talk about the tournaments that we briefly mentioned previously. We alluded to some tournaments that were happening here in the UK. We've had a 2-week break from the podcast to I've been off doing some actual disc golf adventures, but let's talk about the first one of the two, which was the Scottish Open 2021.
Yeah.
So your first time traveling up to Scotland?
My first time in Scotland.
How do you find that?
It was great. The most marked difference I noticed, which was sort of weird, all of my Uber and cab drivers talked to me. That has not happened anywhere else in the UK.
Definitely, yeah. That sounds right.
But no, it was, yeah.
It's a wonderful place in Scotland. I really appreciate the folk and the friendliness, and everyone's always willing to sort of help you out with something in Scotland.
Yeah, that's how it seemed.
Yeah.
I went to the course for a practice round the day before and met up with one local halfway through my first round, and then decided to go on a second one with two other locals, and everyone was just super friendly and helpful and showing me the local routes and telling me exactly what not to do on every hole, which is very helpful in a practice round.
Definitely, yeah. I really appreciate it when people can sort of just be like, oh yeah, do that, or just jump in and welcome you to play. Especially if you're playing solo, it's always much more fun if you can grab somebody and play a fun round together.
Absolutely.
So yeah, the tournament was on 26th of June and the 27th of June. I've got the PDGA event page here. Let's get the zoom in going. Obviously, it's in Glasgow, run by Glasgow Disc Golf Club. Big props to them. They always run a great tournament. They put a lot of effort in and do the players' caddy books nice and take care of the video meetings and make sure the course is in good condition and have people around to show you what needs to happen and stuff. So credit to them for putting on another great tournament. How did you find the running of the tournament?
Oh, it was great. It was smooth. Everything was, there was a nice tournament central where you could ask questions. The starting tee pads were announced well before, and everything seemed to run like clockwork. I don't remember any major backups, and everything started on time.
Yeah, it was really good. I thought it was really well run. So like I said, we all travelled up. It was at Springburn Park in Glasgow. I went up the day before so I had a little practice round in the evening. I played at Springburn before, but it was quite a different layout, and I didn't really know the holes very well. But I went up and had a little run round with one of the Manchester Club members who came up as well. And we scouted out some holes and worked out what we were going to throw and stuff, and then went back to the hotel and watched some of the World Championships. We'll come on to that a bit later. And then, yeah, that was kind of the routine, really, back and forth between the course and the hotel and watching Worlds and having some dinner and stuff. And yeah, for me, it was a really great tournament because it was the first tournament in about 18 months where it had actually felt like it was a social event rather than oh my gosh, we're managing to sneak in some disc golf while following all the rules and regs, and we're not allowed to see each other and talk to each other, and you have to do your own thing, and you have to go away after the tournament, and you can't stay around and socialize or anything. It kind of felt like the first time where that was almost allowed, I guess, which was really nice. I'd really missed that, and me and Jason and Ian and Steve all stayed in the same hotel, so it was quite nice to be able to go out for dinner with them. And obviously, I know there's a lot of people who don't really follow the rules of to the letter of the law and stuff, but I've been trying to set a good example and stuff and stick to some of the rules and regs. So it was quite nice to be able to socialize and feel like I was following the rules.
Yeah,
which is really good. The tournament itself went interesting for me. So we'll start with the Open division, of course, Open men's. Joe O'Brien took down the win, shot 30 under par over his 3 rounds, which is pretty impressive.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, opened out with a ridiculous 10.37 rated 44, which set the scene for the day. And he was well in the lead after the first round, and he kind of just held steady and increased his lead a little bit. And yeah, comfortable win. Joe is such a good player. He's really come on leaps and bounds. Even from, he was amazingly good like 2-3 years ago, and he's just come on so much now. And he's a really nice young lad, and his putting is out of this world. Like I was lucky enough to play some doubles with him after the final round, and yeah, he was just making, not after the final round, after the second round of day 2, and he was just making ridiculous putts. Like he was just draining everything from 15 meters over and over and over again. So that was really cool to watch. And yeah, he's showing his 1008 rating is well deserved by averaging over that in the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely.
Congrats to Joe. Second place, obviously, Ian McDougall coming up from Manchester. He played really well and was able to sort of clutch it out in the final round, shoot his best round of the tournament in the final round, and stayed just slightly ahead of third and fourth. It was a really close battle for that position, with both Rick and John having one really good round and a few other worse rounds, and not quite enough to be able to take down Ian's consistent average. Down in the advanced division, Chris Habgood won. He had an insane round 2 that everyone was like blown away around. I think he shot like -10 or something in round 2. And nobody else is really quite able to make that up. I guess that's kind of the difference between advanced and open. Like in advanced, one really good round might be enough to win it, whereas in open you need at least 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, the average scores were great in both divisions. You had to shoot under par average to get into the top 5 in advanced.
Yeah.
So
this is actually one of the things that surprised me about this tournament, that there was an advanced division. That's very common. You don't see a tournament without an advanced division in the States, and this is the only one I'm aware of in the UK.
Yeah, so Scotland do things a little bit differently to England in that respect. England at some point decided to move from, we used to do MA3, MA2, MA1, but you kind of had to play MA2 when your rating got to like 850, otherwise you would just win MA3. So the decision was taken to try and balance the ratings so that players coming from abroad to England to play would know kind of what division to play in. So we just got rid of MA1 completely and went for MA4, MA3, MA2 to kind of match better what the ratings were. But then in Scotland, they kind of stuck with the traditional MA3, MA2, MA1. So,
gotcha.
So that's why it's that way around. But yeah, really big range of scores in advanced. lots of people getting on with lots of different ways, and yeah, an interesting range of scores. Really great to see 5 people in the advanced women's division, which was won in an absolute landslide by Rachel Shelton. She is so good. She is just unbelievable.
She's so good. I was looking at her PDGA page. If you look at it real quick, she has only not won one tournament, and it's because she played in MA2.
Yeah.
And she got 3rd.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just unbelievable. Good. I'm so rooting for her at Am Worlds.
Yeah, well, hopefully she gets to go travel and play Am Worlds. I think it's looking likely. I keep joking with her that if she doesn't go play Am Worlds this year, she'll be stuck playing Pro Worlds next year. Which
likely.
I don't think is even an exaggeration, but
no, I agree.
Yeah, playing very well right now and shooting 1,000 rated rounds, and definitely going to mix it up with the best female players in Europe when she gets the chance to travel a bit. So really cool to see, and congrats to her. Bella from Manchester took 2nd place, averaged sort of slightly below rating, didn't quite manage to figure out the course, but got better every round. And yeah, I think if she'd been able to get some practice rounds in, she'd have been able to give Rachel a much better run for her money. But I'm not sure she would have been able to quite compete with the crazy 2nd round, nearly 1,000 rating round. But yeah, Bella's a really fantastic player, and looking forward to seeing them be able to compete a little bit more going forward. And then in the advanced amateur masters, Josh Hughes took down the win, so congrats to him. And masters 50 plus, Craig French getting the victory by 9 shots, so well done. And then we'll talk about intermediate a little bit more, because it's one of the biggest divisions, and then that's where we were playing. So so yeah, overall winner number 1, Daniel Shelton. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Was this your first UK win, or was this your 2nd?
This is my first UK win. I moved up to MA2 from MA3, starting at the Quarry Park Open, and then had to drop out before the last round because of an ankle injury. And so this was my first full MA2 tournament. I didn't win any of my MA3 tournaments, and then I moved up to MA2, and I won the first one I finished. So that was an interesting experience.
Cool. Yeah, it's really good. It's obviously in Scotland, MA2 that's probably more equivalent to MA2 to MA3 in the UK, but I mean the two have a big overlap anyway, right? So
yeah,
it's not like it takes away anything from the victory, and I mean the round ratings kind of speak for themselves after a somewhat mediocre first round.
I think after the front 9 of the tournament, I was in last place. It felt like I forgot how to play disc golf. I had like 4 or 5 bogeys to start the round and no birdies, and then I had to claw my way back from that for the next several rounds. So that it was surprising to end up on lead card, and I think I was 3 strokes back of Fergus going into the final rounds. And so then to be able to just maintain throughout that final round while Oliver was sneaking up from behind with his 6 under round, to try to take that win was intense and a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. It was really cool to see and get to watch. I had kind of the inverse of that tournament. So I'm down here in 10th place. That was my finishing position, with a plus 14 overall. But if we quickly sort by round 1, because this is what really matters. There you go. So I had the hot round in round 1 in MA2, and I was very happy with that. I didn't play great, in all honesty. It felt like I kind of played mediocre in round 1. I was a little bit disappointed with myself, but then I was like, okay, well, I still shot 1 under par, got some birdies on the back 9. So I fully was expecting to go into round 2, round 3, and be able to sort of shoot -4, -5. That was kind of my expectations of myself after the first round. And I said to myself, I said to the people in my card, I hope I'm not being considered bagging in MA2 because I won the Scottish Open in MA2 last year, and I was feeling very confident. I was sure of my victory. Maybe a little bit overly confident, if I'm completely honest, because how quickly the tables turned. So the second round I shot 5 over, obviously 6 shots worse than maybe 4 over, but it was like 5-6 shots worse than round 1. I was very displeased with that. I didn't feel like I'd played to my game at all, but I was still on lead card for the final day, just about, and I was like, it's fine, it's okay, I've had one off round, I can get that back. And then everything kind of went off the rails in round 3. This is my lowest rated round in 2 years. I shot 11 over par, which was kind of about as bad as I probably, without doing anything crazy wrong, it was about as bad as I could have done. Didn't make any putts, didn't make any upshots, didn't make any drives really. Like, I think I might have been birdie free, which on Springburn is not a good thing. Like it's a fairly easy course to get birdies on. There's some tricky holes, but it's a lot of the holes are sort of between like 75 and 85 meters, so you can reach all of the holes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was not ideal, and I was fairly disappointed by how I managed to play. I think looking at the ratings, my final round is so bad that it won't even count for my PDGA rating.
Oh yeah,
which
definitely
is quite
nice. definitely more than a standard deviation away.
Yeah. So I guess I'm lucky for that perspective, but yeah, not how I wanted to finish out the tournament. But anyway, I ended up in 10th place, and guess that's fine. You can't win them all. Right.
Well, I'm gonna try to prove that statement wrong.
Yeah, you're on a good streak. Quick shout out to Cam, who played really well, ended up in 3rd, and Florian from Manchester as well. We were all sort of all chatting and hanging out all week. He had a really good last round and managed to get up into 5th, so it was nice to see the Manchester boys representing. And speaking of Manchester boys, Jason Mcneese debatably should have been playing rec in Scotland, but he didn't know that. He managed to get his victory by 5 shots. It could have been a lot more if he had made any putts in the final round, apparently. He was actually a little bit disappointed with how he played despite getting the win, so I think that's a good sign that he should be playing some MA2 going forward. But yeah, nice to see Jason getting another Manchester win. And I wanted to give a quick shout out to Jess and Ollie, junior girls. They're playing junior under 18. I think they were probably 14 or 15. I might have to check that one, but maybe 13. But they played really well. I got to play with them both in the first round, which was interesting. It took me a little bit of time to adjust to the idea that there were people on the card who were going to take kind of different routes around the holes, a little bit more shots to get through the holes. But once I kind of got used to it, it was really cool, and we got to have a good time. And both of them were super into disc golf and enthusiastically showing me what disc they were throwing and why they were doing that. And it's really cool to see some people who you wouldn't necessarily associate as the most likely target audience to get into disc golf with playing, and it was really fun. So yeah, that was the Scottish Open. It's a good time. Probably my favourite bit of the trip to Scotland, though, which is kind of funny, was actually after the Scottish Open. So I was sitting there fairly dejected. Just shot my worst round in a little while, and was not really feeling it. But I said to myself, you know what? I'll be really disappointed if we waste the trip. I'll be really disappointed if this, because I was staying another night as well. I was not heading back after the tournament. I was like, if this is it, and I just go back to the hotel, wait till the next day, have my breakfast and drive home, I probably will feel like it was a bit of a waste. So we decided to jump in the car and drive back over to Reboot Disc Golf Bluebell Woods, my favourite course in the country. It's about an hour and a half away, but it was, I thought, may as well, we've got the whole afternoon, so we took the trip over. So Daniel came, obviously, and Jason came as well. What did you think of the trip over to Reboot?
It was fantastic. I had been saying for a while to some of the guys here in Bristol that I really wanted to play like a heavily, tightly wooded course. And Bluebell Woods is exactly that. Beautiful wooded lines and long too. It's not just short pitch and putt like putter. You're like straight up trying to throw a distance driver down a wooded hallway, and it's so much fun. And I'm terrible at it, but I still love doing it. No, it was a gorgeous course, and I am looking forward to playing there again, Caledonian Open in October.
Yeah, can't wait. It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious that having been completely unable to throw discs in the largely open and incredibly a lot easier course in Springburn, I headed over to Bluebell Woods and shot like 11 shots better there. So it shows it's a bit of an interesting.
I think you beat Jason and I by like 7 strokes.
Yeah. But yeah.
I'm claiming playing it blind as my excuse. I don't know what Jason's is.
Yeah, I mean, it was the first time you guys were playing, and you guys had nothing to prove, having just won your divisions, and I had everything to prove to myself that I hadn't known how to throw frisbees.
Yeah. I'm not going to say my favorite part, because my favorite part was playing disc golf at a beautiful course, but one of my favorite parts was the kitten on the tee pad of hole 5 or whatever it was.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, there's a little kitten that just hangs out on one of the tee pads at Bluebell and just lets you kind of pet her and rubs up against a bag, and it's quite a nice little treat if the kitten's out.
Yeah.
For sure. So having played the Scottish Open, we had a whole week apart, and then we headed back up. You headed back up to Manchester, and we played the Manchester Wide Open. So this was an interesting tournament for me because it was my first tournament as tournament director, which was definitely a new experience for me. My first sanctioned tournament, I should say, because obviously I've run the Burger Only event a few weeks ago. But yeah, that was a whole crazy time. It had been such a crazy busy 2 weeks before that, trying to get everything for the tournament in order while also traveling to Scotland and playing up there. And yeah, there was a lot of admin, a lot of running around, a lot of driving to Warrington to go pick up tables, and emergency trips to screw fix for double-sided sticky tape when I realised that I had been planning to put the tee signs up on the morning of the tournament but hadn't actually thought about how to stick them. Lots of scrambling to make it a good event, but overall I think it went really well. I think it was quite smooth. There weren't major problems.
From my perspective, as someone who is not TDing and playing, it was great. It went so smoothly. From your perspective, I'm sure you get to see all the flaws behind the scenes, but as someone who only played and didn't have to think about anything else, I think it went really well.
Oh, that's good. I've had a lot of really nice feedback from it. Lots of happy people, messages to say thank you for payouts and thanks for running the tournament, and all sorts of cool things, which was really nice to hear. And it's always nice to get feedback on how you've done, especially when you're putting so much effort into something. You're worried people won't enjoy it, or there'll be issues or backups, or they'll be unhappy. And I mean, some people were unhappy because of the weather and the triple Mando hole, but all in all, it was quite good. The things that I could control went well.
Yeah.
We the one major thing that went wrong was we misplaced the keys for the scout hut, and as the tournament director, really, I should be able to play as well without letting things that I can't control affect me. But that's not my strong suit. So I spent the first 6 holes of the final round freaking out about where the keys could possibly have gone, and it's definitely detrimental to my play. But I think all in all, if that was the worst thing that happened, then not too bad.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so we should probably pull up the results, really.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Screen share. transition over here. So, Manchester wide open. Yes, the tournament was presented by Ace Disc Golf. It was awesome getting to work with the Ace boys. They came up and around the shop at the event, which was really nice. Chance to browse their merch and have them around for helping out with stuff. Big shout out to Swede from Ace Disc Golf, who was running around to and from the cafe fetching me breakfast and coffee and generally doing odd job body things for me, which was really handy. We had so many volunteers who all chipped in their own ways, and some spotters and people helped put the tents up in the morning, and yeah, I couldn't have done it without all the help. It was really great to have so many people helping out. So in terms of the tournament itself, the tournament delivered on the disc golf as well. In the open division, the story kind of, because this is a 4-round tournament, there's a little bit more time for things to happen. So in round 1, we played the red tees, which is quite a short course. Lots of birdie opportunities, and James shot a 46, which is a pretty hot score. Ian managed to beat him by 1 with a 45. Jamie was also in the mix in the open division. So the first red round was quite close, and it was interesting to see the sort of a bit less score separation on the red course, because it's a much shorter and easier course. But then they came out onto the blue tees, and Ian just sort of started to shred. We were watching the live scores come in, and he was sort of 7 down through 8, 8 down through 9. Like, he was just birdieing all the holes, and he cooled off a little bit in the back 9. But going into the overnight break in the MPO division, Ian had a, what would that be, like a 3 or 4 shot lead from James Luton, and they came back out into the next round, and it was more blues in the morning, and Ian managed to pull another 2 shots away. So he played really well. He was averaging probably just about 1,000 for the first 4 rounds, which is good enough to win most tournaments in the UK. And then round 4 came, and we were back on the red tees, and the rain was pouring down. It was wet by this point, and Ian, he probably realistically should have been able to shoot like a 10 down, like a mediocre round, and still take the win, because he had enough shots in the lead. But James just wouldn't go away, and James just birdied everything. Like, we were watching the live scores, and he was like 1 down through 1, 2 down through 2, and we're just like, okay, here we go. And then he got a par on hole. He got an eagle on hole 6, I believe, and then par on hole 7 to say he was still 7 down through 7, and he just kept going, and he managed to shoot a crazy round at 39, 18 under par. And I mean,
18 under par. Yes, missed par course, but
the par on the red tees is a fairly it's fairly soft, but 18 under par on any course is pretty nuts, right? And
I mean, maybe 3 strokes that you lose if you re-par 3 of the holes on the reds.
Well,
to
probably,
15 under.
Yeah, and I mean, look at that rate and round rating, 10.51. I've never seen a 10.51 in the UK. I don't know if it's ever happened before. Probably not. Crazy round from James, almost perfect, right? You could say you should get a birdie instead of a par and get another eagle, but like, you're really picking straws at that point.
Oh yeah.
So crazy 8 under. Ian shot a really good round. 44 is sort of 980 rated, but with the 18 under, Ian pulled it back to level on the last hole. They were tied up coming into the last hole. Ian had to make a putt to force the playoff. He thought he'd won. He'd miscounted how many strokes he had, but yeah, we ended up in a playoff. We decided to play blue tees for the playoff because I was genuinely concerned, because both of them were just birdieing everything, that we might just end up in a loop of both of them getting a birdie, and the playoff might go like 26 holes or something. So both players agreed, and we decided to play blue tees for the playoff, and James got a little bit too overexcited, having just shot 18 under par, and absolutely juiced his drive off the first tee. I think he threw a Firebird, but he managed to throw it like 15 meters long of the basket. So he had a hard comeback putt, and Ian was absolutely parked with his Star Katana. So Ian was able to take the victory. It was an incredibly exciting MPO division, and I wanted to give a big shout out to Ben Jeffrey. I played with Ben in the first 2 rounds. He was on fire, like with his putting, just absolutely crazy. He puts with the Berg, and he just sort of drills it into the chains. And he started fairly slow in both rounds. I think that was the only thing that held him back from being mixing it up with the other 2 for the overall victory. But yeah, Ben played great, and it was cool to see Ben back at Manchester. Cool to see him shoot his, I think, second ever 1,000 rated round. His 47 was the hot round on the blue tees in the whole tournament. It's 10-16 rated, so congrats to Ben.
Yeah, well done, Ben.
In the other divisions, Bella, despite throwing up right before the start of the tournament, managed to shoot 13 under par and comfortably win the Open Women's division. With a few really, really great round ratings, 949 and a 925. So congrats to her. In the Pro Masters division, Connor Davies took the win. Connor donated his winnings to the Lilford Park fundraiser as well, which was great to see. And Charlie, it was nice to have him up all the way from Devon for the weekend, so that was cool too. In the Am Masters division, John Ellis was the winner with -4. That was a really close division, only 2 shots in the top 4. Luckily, we were paying 3 places in this division, not 2, so they all got a prize, which was nice. Big shout out to Dee, playing Am Masters Women. She had to play the blue course in rounds 2 and 3, and I don't think she'd ever really played the blue course before. So it was interesting to see, and she handled it like an absolute champ. Bless her, she showed up on the second day. I have to play blues again, but she handled it like a champ and played really well. So congrats to Dee. In Am Masters 50 plus, Louis got the win. And then in the intermediate division, our division once again, familiar name at the top, Daniel Shelton, taking his second win in two weeks, which is really cool, by 3 shots as well. So, but I think saying by 3 shots kind of belies how close it felt. Playing the last round. It felt really. I had to make a lot of really clutch putts to hold off the people behind you. So.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Okay, so going into the last round. Well, okay, I'll start at the beginning. The first round just felt like, I don't know. The red course is very easy, but the first time the first tournament I had here, which was the Longford Open, I think I shot 7 under on reds and 1 under on blues.
Yeah.
So I had my targets, but then I didn't realize like how close I was to the guys who'd already come in, because we played last card on the day, you and I, and there were some hot scores, and there was a 12 under, a couple 11 unders, a 10 under, and I don't think I realized how well I was doing until I got up for my 2-putt on 17, and technically on red that's an eagle. And so that eagle put me at like 11 under, and that's when I realized, oh wait, I'm gonna be up with the leaders. This is great. But then round 2, I felt like I wasn't making a putt unless I absolutely had to, and then I made some awesome putts. But my awesome putts were only ever for par or bogey. But I managed to keep it at a 1 under, and then round 2 was just a nightmare of a downpour, or round 3, sorry, was just a downpour the entire time.
It was rough.
I had 1 towel, and my whale sack worked wonders. Harry kept like wondering how my hand like could get traction on a disc, and it's because I had my whale sack in the pocket, and I was just like constantly massaging it to keep my hand dry.
I don't know how you did it. Like, I just don't. Something about playing in torrential rain, just like after a certain amount of time, I just can't hold the disc anymore. And like, one of the feelings that I'll take away from that round was standing on the tee of hole 14 and getting up to the tee. My disc is fairly dry. I'm ready to go, and then the water starts falling off my hat onto my disc. and then I'm just like wiping it off with my cloth, but my cloth is so saturated in water that I can't get the water off, and I can just feel that it's getting less and less grippy the more times I try. And I know I've only got 30 seconds on the tee, right? So I can't go back to my bag and get another disc. I've just got to throw. But I knew that it was not going to work. And then I threw, and it went about 40 meters, and I was just like, well, yeah. that was about as defeated as I got in that round.
My strategy, if you can call it a strategy, it was just like what I considered to be the only way to do things, was get your hand in the disc as dry and grippy as you can out of the rain, puddled under a raincoat or something like that. And then just don't move your hand out of that position, because water can't get between your hand and the disc if it never moves. That didn't always work.
Yeah, so but it's clearly a better strategy than anything I was able to employ. So
well, I managed to shoot 2 under, which so in that first blue round, Sharky shot 5 under.
Yeah,
which was just it was lights out for the MA2 division. It was so good, and that put him, I think, 2-3 back from me, because he had a sort of mediocre first round, and so that really put him back in the fight. So he was on lead card with us for the rounds 3 and 4 on the second day, and he beat me by what a stroke. Yeah, so I must have been 2 up, because he beat me by a stroke on round 3, and so I was up by 1 going into round 4, and through the first 7 holes we went shot for shot. I birdied, he birdied, I'd par, he par. It was unbelievable. It was like we had the exact same scorecard for 7 holes, and I had no idea how I was going to get any separation. And then I managed to get 8, and he didn't. But then I think he got 9 and I didn't, or something. Like
it was really close.
Yeah. The scariest one for me was when I skipped off the basket of 12.
Yeah.
And it was just perfect, zone hyzer, and I'm like, oh, this is going in, and it skips off the basket. And you made that one a freaking island. So the OB starts like a meter from the edge of the circle in the direction that I was skipping. And I managed to land just inside the circle and drain that putt. And I think Sharky struggled on that one and ended up 3-putting for a 4.
Yeah.
And that's the point where I really sort of felt, okay, I've got a little bit of separation, and I can just relax now, play my game, not really be too aggressive.
Yeah, and it was really cool to see. You did just that. You were able to lay up on the last hole to get a solid par and end up with a really solid round, with all the pressure that was on and the rain. Like, it started raining again at the end of that round, and at the start there was no real respite, and there was some good conditions in the middle of the round, I guess. But yeah, it's really good to be able to watch and see you take down the victory. And this one felt like a much more sort of MA2 victory when you look at the round ratings. Like
absolutely,
like you average 940, 950 or something to
950 through the event according to these ratings.
So pretty cool. We'll have to see how the ratings get adjusted, because Manchester's ratings are often get tweaked a little bit because of things like this, where we had people playing the red tees at the same time as the blue tees. So so we'll have to see.
I will say, so I got 2 prizes for winning, and one of them is obviously amazing, 200 pounds for Ace. That's fantastic. I'm so thankful that Ace sponsored this tournament. But the other I'm just so excited about, because I saw these trophies that Ian made before the Longford Open, and I really wanted to win the Longford Open, and Cam took that one down. So to finally get my own after a win in Manchester just feels so good. And now it's up on a thing. I'm gonna turn my camera real quick just so you can see my trophies. So there's
up there on the speaker.
Yeah, on the speakers.
I love it.
So I'm just super happy with that. And I get to see it every day because it's just right there.
Yeah, Ian makes the best trophies. I really want to win one day.
Yeah.
So yeah, my personal tournament at the Manchester Wide Open, like I said, I was tournament directing, so my attention was somewhat elsewhere. But yeah, round 1, I kind of started slow. I started okay, and then I got about 12 pars in a row, which isn't really, and a bogey, which isn't really what you want on the red course. But I managed to pull it back at the end. And I was in an okay position after the first round. And then round 2, I actually played really well. -3 at Manchester it's not my PB or anything, but it's if I shoot -3 in a casual round in the dry, I'm happy. So to shoot it in the rain in a tournament while tournament directing, I was really pleased with it. It was probably one of my better sanctioned rounds. I made some good putts. I was throwing the disc fairly well, which was nice, especially after the previous weekend. I kind of proved that I could do it still, which was nice. And then obviously round 3, I had a lot of struggles with grip. After round 2, I was like a few shots back of you because I'd lost 5 on the first round and made 2 up on the second. So I was still kind of I was 3 shots back. It was doable, but yeah, once my grip went on the back 9 of that round, I think I was lucky to stay at just 2 over par. I was okay with my score considering how hard I was finding it, and then coming down the back 9 of the final round, I knew that the top 3 places were decided. Xander had a really great final round. He shot. He wasn't on lead card, but I don't think he was on lead card.
No, he was chase.
He was on chase. Yeah, he was on chase card, but he would have been on lead card if we'd have reordered the cards after round 3, because he shot 961 rated round in the rain. But yeah, he was already in the clubhouse. He was too far ahead. So really, I was chasing down James Cooney, one of the ace guys, and he was a few holes ahead of us, and I was kind of just following his scores and the live scores, and I knew that once he got a par on hole 17, we were playing hole 14, and I knew that if I birdied out, it was in my own hands at that point. And I didn't quite birdie out, but I did finish with 2-2-2 on the last 3 holes, which was enough to chase that stroke down and get the final cash place, which was nice.
Yeah, that was fun to watch, because you knew what you were aiming for, and then you just straight up executed. So that was well done.
Yeah, and it felt like I'd been off a little bit beginning of that round and all of round 3, so it was nice to be able to get it back at the end when it mattered. And I left feeling quite positive about my disc golf, but very positive about the tournament as a whole. So
yeah,
so that was really nice.
The only other thing I'll say about that is Sharky is one of the prime examples of what I was saying before about having heard so much about someone. You know, he's clearly one of the highest rated amateur players in the UK. And I hadn't played with him until the round 3 and 4 of this tournament. So that was fun. Yeah.
He's one of the people I play with often at Manchester. He's one of my favourite people to play with. So me and him kind of have really great battles. He's definitely better than me, but it's nice to have someone who's a bit better than you to compete against and
oh yeah, absolutely.
And push yourself towards. And every single time you manage to beat them, you always feel great. So that's always nice.
Yeah.
So in the intermediate women, Natalie Eakin played fantastic. This is her first rated tournament, her second tournament. So really cool to see another lady averaging over 800 in every single round. So that's really nice. In the rec division, Jason Mcneese won his second tournament in a row, averaging much higher scores. This is his home course, so he was expecting to be able to do that, but he was pushed all the way by Liam. It went to a playoff that Jason won on hole 3. So they had a really good battle at the top of their division. So that was nice to see as well. Shout out to Liam and Alex and Daniel, of course, getting in the top 4. And then in the rec divisions, Rachel Sanig won FA3. Brandon Lawson won MA4. The scores here, if they look slightly differently, is because they played 4 rounds of the red course. So that's where these scores are slightly different. And then Rosie Avis won novice women. So that's kind of a rundown of the tournaments.
Yeah. 2
tournaments, and somehow we managed to take an absolutely ton of time going through all that. I wasn't quite expecting to that. We've got loads more stuff planned for the show, but we try and stick to about an hour, so we're almost at the end. Let's quickly run through your desert island discs, Daniel.
Oh, sure.
I'm excited to see these and hear what you've been throwing to win all these MA2 tournaments. So let me put the graphic up, and we can So you go into a desert island course. You've got 3 discs, 1 putter, 1 mid-range, and 1 driver. What are you going to bring in throw?
Okay, so putter first. I putt with pures, medium 0. I don't really throw pures. I know a lot of people love throwing pures, but it's just the best putting putter I've ever found. And so if I'm going to bring a putter, it'll be for putting, and I will putt with a pure.
Nice.
Mids, to be honest, I don't throw a ton of mids. I bag mids, and I will throw them in specific circumstances where I don't think it calls for a fairway driver. But the one I've been throwing more than any other one is my Matrix. Where's my camera? It just has a nice feel in the hand, flies pretty much just dead straight. And then my driver is probably the most thrown disc in my bag. It's my Night Strike. I love this disc. I think I bought it from Paige Pierce at Ledgestone because she was manning Nate Perkins' van for some reason. And I've got like 3 or 4 more because I have lost enough Night Strikes to know that I have to have backups. But it's just my all-time favorite disc. It feels so nice and it flies so straight, but like will never just flip over on me into the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
those are my favorite discs. Thank you.
So there you go, guys. This week's episode of the show. I'm glad to be back. We will have a podcast for you next week. The week after that, giving you some advance notice of what's going on. Next week's show will just be a normal show. The week after that, we will be doing a pre-recorded show for one of the first times ever in Don't Shoot's history. I will be heading down to South Warden Farm to play the tournament down there. And Charlie Mead, one of the sort of forefathers of British disc golf, owner of South Warden Farm course. He's on the WIFDIF board. Various interesting things to talk about with Frisbee history and disc golf and the UK in general. We'll be doing an hour-long sit-down interview. You will not get all your normal segments. It won't be live like we usually do, but you'll get some Don't Shoot content from an interview with me and Charlie. We would do it live, but there's not actually much internet at South Warden Farm, so the Wi-Fi is not really reliable enough for live streaming. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere in sort of rural Devon, so they don't really get fast enough streaming internet there. So that's the reason for that show. And then after that, I believe there will be another 2-week break while I am on my summer holidays. So I won't be doing on in situ shows for everybody, but that's a little bit of an insight for what's going on. Go check out my Instagram. I'm doing something on Instagram where I'm actually going to post every day for a year, having pretty much never used Instagram before. I know a lot of you are over there and want to follow what's going on Instagram, so now you'll have the chance to do that. Is there anything you would like to promote, Daniel? Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I don't have an Instagram. I'm not sponsored by anyone. I would like to say happy birthday to my best friend, Rob Wiest. His birthday is tomorrow. Nice. I told him I'd call him out. I didn't tell him it was going to be the very last thing I said. Before I moved from the States to the UK, I gave him my grip bag and loaded it with discs. So hopefully he gets out and plays disc golf at some point. But if he doesn't, I love him anyway. So awesome. That's all I wanted to say. Happy birthday, Rob.
Happy birthday, Rob.
And thank you for having me on.
No worries. Thanks for coming on. And we'll talk to you all next week. See you then.
See you then.
Bye.